After years of struggling and lacking identity, the New Orleans Saints offense in 2024 will finally be exciting to watch again. The Saints expected to hire Klint Kubiak as their offensive coordinator. We're breaking it all down on this quick hit episode of Locked On Saints. What is good, Who Dat Nation and Who Dat family? I am your host, Ross Jackson, native New Orleanian, New Orleans Saints expert, credential media member of the New Orleans Saints, as well as a senior writer and reporter over at Saints News Network. Jumping right into this, we're doing a quick hit today to get you all caught up on everything going on. Big news for the New Orleans Saints that they are expected to hire former, or I guess present still, San Francisco 49ers passing game coordinator Klint Kubiak as their next offensive coordinator. This is a guy from the very beginning of the process, even before the process began for the Saints, that we knew was going to be a target for this team. We talked about him and Zach Robinson effectively being 1A and 1B. Yes, I had Zach Robinson a little bit above Klint Kubiak for sure, but Klint Kubiak was the easy home run choice or other home run choice for the New Orleans Saints. And after what has felt like centuries of looking for their next offensive coordinator, as the reports are saying from Adam Schefter over at ESPN, the New Orleans Saints are expected to hire Klint Kubiak as their next offensive coordinator. The hire cannot become official until after the Super Bowl, however, so that's why you're going to see a lot of language coming up about how they're expected to hire, that they're working to hire, things like that. But look, this was the candidate. This is the guy that the New Orleans Saints have wanted this entire time, and it's fantastic news. Like, fans should be very excited about this. I know that Klint Kubiak struggles in 2021 have created a little bit of caution around him, but remember, he was running his dad's system in that year. He was very green, first-time offensive coordinator. He was effectively sequencing 6 plays and then having to figure out how to create some type of dynamic over on that offense. Got better as the play caller the following year in 2022 with the Denver Broncos, and then now has spent the 2023 season with the Kyle Shanahan system and the San Francisco 49ers. It's a system that every team wants, and now it's a system that the New Orleans Saints are expected to have. This is going to be massive for Derek Carr. It's going to be great for Alvin Kamara. It's going to be great for Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, the young receivers there, along with A.T. Perry. This is what the New Orleans Saints needed to do. They had no identity on the offensive side of the football last year. That will not be the case in 2024. They did not do a good job of maximizing their playmakers or even utilizing their playmakers in the ways that they should have been utilized in 2023. That will no longer be the case in 2024. And if you're worried about Klint Kubiak showing up and still having his dad's playbook, if that would have happened, he would not have been hired. It's the fact that he's coming off of this Kyle Shanahan system and the growth that he has made during that time, in which it makes perfect sense for the Saints to go this route. Now, it's going to be really interesting to see what other staff changes come about for this. Remember, the Saints still have to fill out an offensive assistant role, a wide receiver coach role, and a running back coach role. But will we see more changes with Klint Kubiak showing up and maybe wanting to get some of those other guys in? Could we see a guy like Brian Griese, who also interviewed for this role as the quarterback coach for the San Francisco 49ers, could we see him join this New Orleans Saints staff in some other capacity or something of that ilk? It's going to be very interesting to watch the upcoming changes, but the fact of the matter is that this makes the New Orleans Saints better in 2024. Are they going to be a 10-win team? I don't know. Are they going to be able to go on a playoff run? I don't know. But if they're going to be a 10-win team, if they're going to make a playoff run, Klint Kubiak was the hire that they needed to make in order to get them there. Zach Robinson maybe was the other guy that I was keenly focused on for this team. I love this hire for New Orleans. You should love this hire for New Orleans. New Orleans has to be stoked that they got this hire. All of this conversation about how nobody wants to work with New Orleans. People don't want to work with Dennis Allen. People don't want to work with Derek Carr. And the Saints got one of the top offensive coordinator candidates. Presumably, we'll wait until the signing is official, but the expectation here is that they got him to say yes. And not only did they get him to say yes, but now they get him to New Orleans after the Super Bowl and be able to continue to build up. This system, that Kyle Shanahan system that Klint Kubiak brings, it's going to bring a lot more motion. The New Orleans Saints were in the low or the high 20s when it came to motion percentage this year, just over 14%. The San Francisco 49ers over 40%. They were second in the NFL when it came to that number, right behind the Miami Dolphins, who were utilizing as their head coach the passing and play caller, the former passing game coordinator of that very system, Mike McDaniel, who was formerly with the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan before he went there. So expect to see a lot more motion. Expect to see a considerable amount of play action. Expect to see the Saints move the pocket. Expect to see the wide zone concepts back, the outside zone runs, a mobile offensive line, all these other things. This is massive, massive news for the New Orleans Saints, assuming that this hire holds. Fingers crossed that it will and that nothing changes between now and when the hire can become official. But this was the guy that the New Orleans Saints needed to go out and get, and they went out and they got him, and you should be very, very excited as a Saints fan. You are not in store for mediocrity anymore. You are now in store for actual improvement on this New Orleans Saints team and on this New Orleans Saints offense. Going to have a full episode coming up for you here in just a little bit, breaking down what it is, what does it mean, the Kyle Shanahan system, what could it bring for the New Orleans Saints, and who it might best benefit, starting, of course, with the most important player on the field, the quarterback, in Derek Carr. We're going to have that coming up for you a little bit later on today. Appreciate you very much for being here for another quick hit episode of Locked On Saints. Here is a part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.